Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. Meanwhile, in the middle of the shopping district of the Leaf Village, Sakura parted the flaps separating the interior of the Ichiraku ramen stand from the outside world. The smell of pan-fried noodles, meats, and vegetables filled her lungs with their enticing scents. Immediately she was greeted by none other than the store owner's daughter, Ayame, filling in for her father who had taken a rare day off. Sakura-san. The noodle maiden cried in delight. Good afternoon, Ayame. Sakura greeted in kind. Back for another quick bite before returning to the hospital? Ayame inquired. You're in luck. I just finished a piping hot pot of vegetable ramen. Not today. I'm off duty today. Actually, I brought someone you might like to see. Ayame glanced behind Sakura to see the silhouette of a young man. This got Ayame's attention. It wasn't often, or ever, that Sakura would bring a date with her. And the boy in question could hardly be called that. Even with the flaps obstructing his face, Ayame could tell that the young man was fairly tall, muscular build, spiky blonde hair, and if she was looking through the slits in the flaps right, cute little whisker marks on his holy crap is that, Naruto. In the flesh, ya know. The blonde smiled at the waitress-turned-chef before taking a seat closest to where Ayame was standing by the counter before Sakura could even sit down. No time to talk. I need 3 bowls of miso ramen with extra pork to start with, and 4 more to come after that. The brown-haired girl could only nod to confirm the order with the now grown-up Naruto leaning over the bar to get right into her face. Ayame took this time to appreciate how handsome the blonde had gotten over the last 3 years of being gone. The Toad Sanin's training had stripped the boy of all his baby fat, leaving hard-angled jaws and cheekbones until only the face of a man remained. Although you could still see the twinkle in his eye of carefree youth and the smile of innocence on his face. So the remnants of the old cheerful Naruto was still there to enjoy. Something both ladies had picked up on. Sensing that she was about to be caught staring, the ramen chef quickly turned around and began her favorite customer's order, not even bothering to ask for Sakura's order. You know something, Ayame-chan? I spent 3 years roaming the elemental nations with Pervy Sage, and not one ramen stand had anything near as good as your old man's. Is that right? Inquired Ayame. I'll be sure to tell my dad. He'll be delighted to know that our favorite customer proved that our ramen was the best in the world. That's right. When I become Hokage, it's going into law that Ichiraku's has the best ramen in the entire world. The Hokage to be raved. Speaking of, where is your dad? I was looking forward to seeing the old man. Oh, he's under doctor's orders to take a day off once a week after I had to treat him for exhaustion. Explained Sakura, muscling her way back into the conversation. The 2 ramen enthusiasts looked to Naruto's left at the pink-haired medic who they both had forgotten was there. Both were embarrassed. I'm sorry. Was I interrupting a conversation between you two? Sakura asked in a rather forceful way. Oh geez, I'm sorry Sakura-chan, Naruto stammered trying to ease the situation. It's just that it's been so long since I've had Ichiraku's ramen and seeing Ayame again. Sakura ignored the flustered blonde and ordered her own bowl of vegetable ramen, giving the whiskered teen a taste of his own medicine. The two sat quietly for a moment before Naruto attempted conversation again. So Sakura-chan, you trained under Granny Tsunade, right? That must have been tough. Tell me about it. Oh, it was, Naruto. She literally beat into me the ins and outs of all things medical. From assessing injuries and ailments in the field and in a hospital, to stabilizing allies and treating patients, Sakura continued on with more detail about how exactly she used her mystic palm technique to heal people. While Naruto would this interesting, he was mostly distracted by seeing Sakura's face light up as she talked about being a medical ninja, which she obviously took a great amount of pride in. Naruto hadn't seen Sakura get this excited about something since Sasuke. Before that depressing thought could set in, Ayame brought them their ramen. 4 piping hot bowls of goodness. Like a kid on Christmas, Naruto's face split into an ear-to-ear grin. He thanked Ayame and the ramen gods before splitting his chopsticks and diving in. Sakura was halfway through explaining about how to heal chakra burns when their food arrived. She knew that there wasn't a force on this or any plane of existence that was going to keep Naruto from enjoying his ramen. So she let him chow down while she attended to her own meal. Her vegetable ramen was as delicious as ever, and Ayame even remembered that Sakura preferred it to be low sodium. She might have long been off a diet ever since starting Tsunade training, her words, not Sakura's, but that didn't mean she had to partake in overly unhealthy foods. In fact, her medical training had made her even more self-aware of what foods she put in her body. Even if the long shifts at the hospital usually didn't allow her to make smart choices. Still, Sakura always chose to come here at least once a week. A little habit she got into after Naruto had dragged their old genin team to the small shop every time it was his turn to pick. When he left for his training with Jiraiya, it became a nice little reminder of him and of happier times. By the time she was finished with her bowl, Sakura looked over at her reunited teammates surrounded by 9 empty ramen bowls. A quick motherly scolding for overeating such unhealthy foods, and the duo had paid for their meals and waved goodbye to Ayame. The kunoichi and the ninja walked side by side with one another through the bustling streets of the Leaf. Naruto with his arms holding up the back of his head and Sakura with her arms draped across her back. So Naruto, tell me about your other 2 friends. They seem like they've got an interesting story behind them. You wouldn't believe it if I told you, Sakura-chan. They come from a world without chakra or jutsus. Everyone just uses ki. They fight mostly with taijutsu. Kind of like bushy brows, but these guys can fly and shoot beams out of their hands. Now you're pulling my leg. It's true, I've seen Gohan do it. We got attacked by an armada of pirate ships off the coast of this one resort island we were staying at, and Gohan flew up into the sky and rained energy blasts down upon them like some divine hand of God. The blonde raved. The pinkett had a look on her face of wonder, imaging someone being so powerful. Then she got an evil idea in her head. That reminds me, Naruto, do you know if Gohan is seeing anyone? She asked, more interested in the reaction than the answer. The blonde stumbled at this one. Gohan. Why would you care if he's seeing someone? You barely know the guy. The boy stammered. No reason, but I would like to get to know the guy. Like you said, he's an interesting character. Plus I just love strong guys. Hold on, Sakura-chan. I'm a strong guy. Why don't the 2 of us go out on a date instead of you and this stranger? Naruto was desperate that she listened to reason. Unfortunately, Sakura was having too much fun teasing the blonde baka to stop now. Who said anything about a date? Besides, he's a friend of yours. That hardly makes him a stranger in my eyes if you like him. The Leaf's most unpredictable ninja was caught completely off guard. He's so lucky that he looks cute when he's clueless. Which is most of the time. Sakura thought. Honestly, she had missed this. Teasing Naruto. You could always count on him to react in more interesting ways than you ever could with Sasuke. Looking back on it, Sakura was disappointed that she didn't take the time to hang out with Naruto more before he left on his training trip. It probably would have led to a lot more memorable moments for Team 7 and between the 2 of them. Too much time had already been wasted pining after Sasuke. No matter, Sakura was determined to make up for lost time. Even without Sasuke being there to act as the carrot driving the 2 of them forward, there was still work to be done. And no doubt they would be called upon soon by her master to use their training to benefit the village somehow. As Sakura's mentor could attest, time was always short for a ninja. For now, the duo had to reintroduce Naruto to Shikamaru and Temari. At the border between the Fire and Wind counties, an orange-clad ninja was frantically pacing back and forth. His sandals digging trenches into the sandy soil. Out there he could see the massive sand dunes looming in the distance. Unknown to the blonde, a certain pinkett was watching him from afar. Which was totally not like what Hinata always does, or so Sakura had to keep telling herself. It was different because Sakura had intended to talk to Naruto from the outset. She always favored the direct approach when it came to Naruto, there was no other way to penetrate his thick skull. But as soon as she reached him, she had to stop and orient her thoughts. The last few days had been a rollercoaster of emotions. First, Naruto returned from his 3-year-long journey with 2 super-powered strangers from another dimension. Then Sakura learned that her former teammate and longtime crush had died at the hands of his brother, leaving a hole in her heart that Naruto seemed to be quickly filling. Now the two of them were on a team again as equals, sprinting off to save a man who had tried to kill Sakura in the past and meant so much to Naruto. Flashback to a few hours ago after they had met up with Temari on their way to the Sand Village. Do you know why I can't calm down? I can't calm down because we're here resting up while somewhere out there, Naruto pointed at the dunes. Gaara is being held hostage by those Akatsuki bastards and probably being tortured right this second. All because they want his monster. They want our monsters. Naruto paused before summoning up the courage to ask Sakura this next question. Sakura, you're the Hokage's apprentice. You must know about me, right? About the Kyuubi. They want us for these chakra monsters, for weapons. That's how they see us. As sheaths. It's almost worse than how our villages treated us. The hate and the loathing. But Gaara, he suffered for a lot longer. All alone. And now that he's in trouble, I stuck here waiting to do something. Maybe the last person on earth I could call my brother is in trouble and I can't seem to do anything for him right now. That is why I can't calm down. Flash forward. Sakura couldn't even take the time to process her new feelings for Naruto with all the stuff going on. Oh, how she wished that Ino hadn't seen her give Naruto that peck on the cheek. It had just felt so natural at the time with all the excitement going on. Yet little Miss Piggy always loved to jump to conclusions and demanded an explanation. What was Sakura to do? Leave Naruto out to dry, as she denied having any romantic feelings for him after such a public display of affection? The old her wouldn't have hesitated. Hell, the old her from 4 days ago might have hesitated. Yet seeing Naruto again after all those years made something click. And the news that Sasuke was gone for good just seemed to open the floodgates. What this meant for Sakura and Naruto she didn't know. Was she just latching onto him to fill a void left by Sasuke? Or was Sasuke's death just the final barrier between her and Naruto being removed? Sakura was so confused, and what's worse, ever since Sakura had kissed Naruto he had been ignoring her. The guy who always wore his heart on his shoulder had chosen this exact moment to go tight-lipped. Yes, they were on an important mission and such conversations could wait. But Sakura needed something. A promise that when things calmed down the two of them would talk about where they would go from there. A sign that such thoughts were plaguing Naruto's mind as well. No, thought Sakura. What was she thinking? Now she just sounded needy. Naruto had more important things on his mind than dealing with their relationship or lack thereof. She would just have to talk to him about it later and focus now on the mission at hand. That, you should run up there and glomp the baka for all he's worth and then demand that he pays attention to us. I thought I got rid of you. Sakura said to herself. Guess again, me. Inner Sakura is back and better than ever. Better? Yeah, right. Why are you even back? I haven't heard from you since my training with Tsunade began. We've been over this. I'm your ID, the unfiltered version of you. I only appear when you aren't being honest with yourself. And bitch, you are one lying mother *CKER right now. Sakura had to massage her temples at this point. It was bad enough having to deal with this nonsense back during her preteen years, but now it was an even more unwelcome distraction. I heard that. I didn't think anything, she thought. I'm you, bitch. I can hear our subconscious. I thought you were my subconscious. I'm part of it. Holy shit, what do you want? To gazing into those piercing blue eyes with one hand raking through those golden locks and the other to trace down the peaks and troughs of that chiseled slab he calls a torso. All the while figuring out what else the great pervert sage had instilled in his pupil. But for now I'll settle on you going over there and hugging our favorite idiot. Look, I don't need to add to the confusion. If I go over there. Shut up. I'm you. I already know what you're going to say. The real reason you won't go over there is because you are scared. Scared of starting a relationship with Naruto for all the wrong reasons. Well, you already have a relationship with Naruto. You're his friend, which is exactly what he needs right now and you know it. But, no buts. Whether you want to start a romantic relationship with Naruto or not doesn't matter right now. He doesn't need a new girlfriend right now. He needs a friend. And he's not going to get that if you're too scared to go and talk to him because you think that the only conversation you can have with him right now is about your love life. So go and hug him. No words, no romantic undertone. Just hug him. It was hard to argue with yourself. Especially since you made the most sense out of anybody you know. Deciding it was better to do it rather than hesitate. Sakura walked right up to Naruto, who had yet to register her presence. Naruto. She spoke aloud. Naruto stopped in his tracks, rather shocked at the sudden appearance of his teammate. Sakura-chan? He asked. Suddenly he found himself wrapped up in a strong hug. His teammate's face was buried in his chest with her arms wrapped tightly around his torso. Too tightly. Oh god, she was crushing his ribs. Sakura-chan. Naruto wheezed out. Sakura opened her eyes, realizing what she was doing, and quickly loosened her grip on the man. Oh geez. I'm sorry, Naruto. I was only trying to break my ribs. Idiot. I was trying to comfort you. She shouted back, her cheeks glowing with a deep red. Why? He gasped. Just. You look like you needed a hug. That's all. Naruto stared at Sakura, trying to decipher the hidden meaning behind her words. Sakura meanwhile had her gaze fixed on a nearby bush to keep from meeting Naruto's eyes. Well, I wouldn't mind a softer hug if you've got one. Idiot. She smirked before wrapping her arms back around him. Albeit this time without accidentally activating her chakra-enhanced strength. Slowly, Naruto returned the hug, wrapping his own arms around her back. He dared not go any lower than Sakura's mid-back for fear of his intentions being misinterpreted. He rested his chin on the crown of Sakura's pink locks. For a few moments they just stayed like that. Sakura breathing in Naruto's scent as he breathed in her shampoo. Strawberries. He thought. Sakura-chan. About what happened after the bell test. Shish. Never mind that right now, Naruto. We'll deal with that after the mission. But, no buts. We'll make it to the Sand Village, save Gaara, then return home to discuss things. But for now, let the both of us just enjoy this friendly hug, please. Naruto wanted to argue, but the desire felt short compared to the desire to keep this hug going for as long as possible. Naruto wasn't used to physical affection. It was different from the rough affection he got from his surrogate father figure in the form of slaps and pats on the back. This feminine touch was gentler, more lingering and warm in its own way. Who cared if it was romantic or friendly? It was lovely. Moments turned into minutes and Naruto began to calm down. Sakura could hear his heartbeat slow to a more relaxed pace. It was soothing to hear. Sakura had heard plenty of heartbeats from all kinds of patients over the course of her medical training with Tsunade. Most of the time they were quick. She heard just enough to diagnose the patient before moving on to other areas of interest. This was different, more intimate. This was her teammate's heartbeat. The rhythmic beat that kept the lifeblood pumping through his veins. It felt so strong, yet Sakura knew firsthand how delicate it could be. When Sakura became a medic, she swore an oath to always treat her comrades until their deaths. Now, as she was being lulled into a kind of half-sleep, she felt inclined to make a new oath to herself. That no matter what happened between her and Naruto, she would always keep this heartbeat going until her own heart fell silent. Like all good things, this moment had to come to the end. Both Sakura and Naruto inwardly groaned when Kakashi had called them both back for dinner. Wordlessly they broke apart. No words were needed, except for two. Thanks, Sakura-chan. The two shinobi walked side by side back to camp, ready to dine on some prepackaged nutrition rations and purified water that tasted like liquid plastic. Yum. The sound of crickets and all other manner of nocturnal creatures could be heard from Team 7's campsite at the edge of the forest. Above them a million stars twinkled in the night sky. All around them the silhouettes of trees framed the picture postcard view above them. While back on the ground, the embers of what was once their cooking fire gave off only the faintest of an orange glow. Off in the distance one such as Tamari could see the outlines of the mighty sand dunes turned almost purple in the foreground of the midnight sky. Tamari had volunteered to take the most difficult middle watch after Kakashi. In truth, she had not slept a wink since her and the rest of Team 7 had turned in for the night. Her thoughts always drifted to her younger brother and whatever horrible fate lay in store for him. Which became worse and worse each time Tamari tried to imagine it. When that proved fruitless, she welcomed the isolation of night watch. The peace and quiet of the tree branches gave her time to silently vent. The sight of the dunes also proved to be soothing. That idiot Nara boy might love to cloud watch, but she preferred to dune watch. She found it even more mesmerizing to watch, the sight of the wind's ever-present force constantly shifting and swaying entire mountains of grains of sand was fascinating. It was subtle, so subtle you would never notice it. Not without spending a significant time on it. Something Tamari could equate to a lot of things in her life. The beauty you had to keep watching in order to appreciate its value. Like the sand village, that seemed to be nothing more than a dusty city in the middle of a desolate country until you saw how much the people had learned to thrive with the limited resources they were born to. Like Shikamaru, who seemed like nothing more than an unfathomably lazy boy at first glance, yet always surprised her whenever he displayed his brilliance in tactics and strategy. Like Gaara, who started out as nothing more than a monster in her eyes, yet grew to become the sand's most beloved cage. To think, thought Tamari, that the man who would forever change my brother for the better would be his enemy and a fellow Jinchuriki. And that he sprawled all over his sleeping bag like a freaking child. It was true, whenever her brother would bring up the subject of Naruto, you'd think he was talking about some divine angel that had descended from on high and showed Gaara the way to the promised land. Getting the psychopath beaten out of him by Naruto had no doubt been the best thing to ever happen to Gaara. With that kind of reputation preceding him, Tamari imagined that the orange-clad squirt she had last seen at the Chunin exams to be sleeping with some kind of dignity. He looked way too relaxed to be a ninja, but that might have been the point. Naruto was an innocent soul, incorruptible by the evil goings-on of the world. He might have wept for her brother, whom he no doubt considered a brother himself, during the day. But at night, in his sleep, he was at peace. It was probably the reason he was able to reach Gaara in the first place. A man who always wore his shoulder on his sleeve had very little to hide. Now that pink-haired one, she had somethings to hide. Tamari had seen her, returning from her make-out session with Naruto or whatever, yet for the entire meal she kept a respectful distance from her blonde-haired teammate. The whiskered fool had made several obvious attempts at staring at her, all of which she did her best to ignore. Did they get into a fight? Tamari was this close to asking Hitaki if those two had started dating when she thought better of it. It was none of her business and there were more important things to think about. Still, that didn't stop her from noticing Haruno's subtle body language betraying her true feelings. As the sun dipped behind the dunes, Tamari noticed the pinkett scooching her seat closer and closer to her fellow Chunin. Every time she thought no one was looking, she would inch her butt nearer to his. By sunset, the tips of their fingertips were just ever so slightly touching. The fire pit could only illuminate part of their hands, leaving the rest concealed in private shadows. Tamari wasn't even sure that Sakura knew she was doing it. Naruto had long given up trying to catch her gaze and resigned himself to watching the flames dance about. There was no way he noticed. If their Junin sensei had noticed, he was doing a damned convincing job of looking indifferent. Soon enough though, the silver-haired squad leader had shut his orange book and ordered his men to turn in. He took first watch, with Temari volunteering for second as was said, and Sakura volunteering for the last watch. Temari observed as both Naruto and Sakura broke away from each other without uttering a word. They simply rifled through their backpacks and each pulled out their own sleeping bags. The Sand Mistress was about to question why the two of them seemed so cold towards one another when she noticed how they had positioned their sleeping bags. In a wide open clearing, they had placed their makeshift beds side by side, barely an inch separating them. Without a word they crawled into their bags and drifted off to sleep. Again, if the copycat ninja had any problems with this arrangement, he didn't share it. As for Temari, she couldn't help but find the whole setup adorable. She herself had been on countless missions with ninjas of the opposite gender, not just her brothers, mind you. And you never saw two ninjas sleep so close together unless there was something going on between them. Temari remembered when she and the rest of the sand ninjas had attacked the leaf. When Naruto had fought Gaara, it was to save that pink-haired girl whom Gaara had taken hostage. Thinking back on it, he must have had a crush on her to go that far. And if that was the case, then Temari couldn't help but be overjoyed to discover that those two had finally, or would finally discover one another. Sure, she often came across as a cold and calculating bitch. But she was still a girl, damn it. And this was quality grade a gossip. Years down the line, the bumbling knight finally wins the heart of his princess. It was just so precious. God damn, did Temari need to make some girlfriends. She had been forced to hang out with her brothers for far too long, and the only real friend she had in the leaf was Shikamaru. Another guy who would think the sacred art of gossip to be nothing more than troublesome. Temari was mentally listing off the pros and cons of asking out that Matsuri girl who always seemed to glow red whenever she was around the cage when some exciting new development, developed. From across the fire pit, Temari could see Naruto spread eagle, his limbs sticking out of his sleeping bag like he couldn't be contained even when lying unconscious. His left arm had landed right on top of Sakura, smacking her in the cheek. Rather than knock the Klutz's hand away, and then knock the Klutz himself away, Sakura's hand out of her sleeping bag and grabbed a hold of Naruto's. She held his hand against her cheek, while her fingers intertwined with his. Temari couldn't see it in the dark, but both Sakura and Naruto's thumb took this opportunity to rub circles in each other's hand. Unknowingly, this had a calming effect on Naruto, preventing him from squirming around any further. Temari thought she was going to squeal. This fluffy goodness was a welcome distraction from the horrible thoughts plaguing her mind about her brother. In time, she thought, when all of this is over and things are back to normal, I'd give anything to have a boyfriend like Sakura's. To have and to hold. To keep me warm on a cold night. But definitely not that little boy, Shikamaru. That guy's a pansy. Several hours later, Sakura stirs herself awake. She awoke feeling particularly warm and fuzzy. More so than she could ever remember feeling. It was a humbling march to say the least. Naruto and his team had done it. They had saved Gaara from the clutches of the Akatsuki and were on their way back to the hidden sand village. Surrounded by an entourage of sand shinobi who had all come running to save their beloved cage. That itself was no surprise. What was surprising was the fact that they had running to save a Jinchuriki. Now they were alternating between carrying the red-headed cage and walking beside him, always surrounding him in a protective manner. To Naruto, who grew up knowing firsthand how a village normally treated its Jinchuriki, he knew how unbelievable it must have seemed for Gaara when he woke up, but there they were. Genin, Chunin, Junin, and even a few Anbu of varying age groups had come to rescue the man they had once collectively feared. Although as Naruto looked around he noticed a lot more shinobi around his age had come along, more so than the older generation. Naruto figured it would still be some time for the adults to let go of their prejudices, something his master Jiraiya had firmly tried to impart to him over the last 3 years. Whatever. Naruto thought. This is still major progress in the right direction. The thought made the blonde knucklehead look to the group in the front of their parade and the hero that they were carrying. Lady Chio, the kind of old bat that Naruto would have normally associated with any other out-touch elder dead set in their old ways, had forever earned Naruto's respect. Using some special jutsu, she had sacrificed her own life to bring Gaara back from the dead. The very woman that had been partially responsible for forcing the one-tailed tanuki inside of Gaara had paid the ultimate price to give the young Kazekage a second chance. It almost made Naruto regret the harsh things he had said to her. Flashback. Shut up. It was you. You people did this to him. Naruto pointed at the corpse of his Jinchuriki brother. You put a monster in him and turned him into a weapon for the village. And then you let them hate him for it. Did you ever ask him how that makes him feel? Do you even care? Naruto stuttered off after that. It wasn't Gaara he was talking about now. But Gaara had just made Kazekage, he had achieved Naruto's dream. Things were supposed to be different. I couldn't save Sasuke. I couldn't save Gaara. No matter how hard I train, it is just never enough, he spoke to himself. Years of abuse and neglect finally broke through. He hadn't cried like this since Iruka-sensei had said he was an excellent student. Lady Chiyo didn't respond, she just walked past Naruto, crouched next to Gaara's body, and activated some unknown jutsu. That jutsu? Lady Chiyo, wait. Sakura shouted. What? What is it? Naruto asked. Sakura looked at the smile in Chiyo's eyes and grew still. She's going to bring Gaara back. Flash forward. Later, Naruto had learned that old Lady Chiyo had sacrificed her life energy for Gaara and had played a pivotal role in helping Sakura defeat one of the Akatsuki members, Sasori the Puppet Master. Sakura-chan. Naruto looked to his pink-haired teammate, who was closely trailing behind the group carrying Chiyo's body back on a stretcher. Sakura had grown close to the old medic, Puppet Master in the short time that Chiyo had been a part of Team 7. A life-and-death battle against an S-ranked criminal will do that to you. As amazed as Naruto was for Chiyo's act of selflessness, the feat she had pulled off with Sakura had him even more in awe for the both of them. For years, ever since they had first come knocking on Naruto's hotel door, the Akatsuki had seemed like unstoppable boogeymen to Naruto. Rouge ninjas who could give even the pervy sage a run for his money had Naruto quaking in his sandals in ways he would never admit to anyone. Never before had they felt so real as when they attacked Gaara in the middle of his village and taken him hostage. Even fighting them after all these years had served to remind everyone of how powerful an enemy they were facing. But at the same time, the Akatsuki had finally been brought down to earth. Of all people, it had been Sakura who first defeated a member of the Akatsuki. To Naruto, who would agree but never admit that Sakura was once the weakest link on their team, hearing that Sakura had killed one of the agents of Naruto's nightmare had been unbelievable. His heart swelled with pride at how powerful his pink firecracker had become. Her monster strength was enough to make him fear her, her medical prowess was enough to be in awe of her, but her victory against Sasori, well, Naruto was already in love with her, so there wasn't much higher his opinion could go for her. She's amazing, thought Naruto. You're damn right she is. The Kyuubi answered back. Ah geez, what do you want, you damn fox? I'm not fighting anyone, so you can't tempt me with your chakra. Shut it, brat, I'm not here for that. Then what do you want? You never talk to me unless you want to tempt me. And no, I won't release the seal for an ocean of ramen. There is no ramen down in the abyss of my psychosis. Pervy Sage told me so. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the pink-haired vixen. Pink-haired, you mean Sakura-chan? What do you want with her? Don't think for a second I'll let you hurt her, you shitty fox. Calm down, brat. I don't want to hurt her. I just want you to mate with her. Mate? You mean have with her? Naruto shouted out loud, drawing in all the eyes of every shinobi to stare at his outburst. Sakura in particular was looking at him with a look of rage and disbelief. A gust of sand blew by. Heh heh, sorry. The awkward blonde apologized to the crowd, doing his trademark neck rub. Unknown to Naruto, at the time Kankuro had been trying to strike up a conversation with the orange dork. Something about showing him and his team a night on the town in gratitude for saving his younger brother. He had mentioned hooking Naruto up with some dates. Kankuro knew some bachelorette kunoichi that just loved foreign ninjas, when Naruto had made his outburst. Sensing the end of their conversation, Kankuro quickly shifted over to see Lee and Neji wanted to take him up on his offer. Idiot. The Nine Tails thought. I am not going to do that with Sakura-chan. We're just good friends and teammates and I don't want to. Oh Sage's Sake, spare me. Brat, I've known you for all but 30 minutes of your life and you have been in love with that vixen for longer than even I can remember. The demon fox bellowed. Wait, that doesn't make sense. 30 minutes what? Naruto thought, trying to put two and two together. The point is that you love her and anyone half paying attention will tell you that she loves you back. So just mate with her already and stopping sighing about her all the goddamn time. I'm not just going to walk up to her and say, hey Sakura-chan, let's. Naruto screamed, his embarrassment showing both in his psyche and on his physical cheeks. God, fine. You wanna play the long game. Delay what we all know is coming over and over again until it stops being fun. Fine. Then go hold her hand. The Biju instructed. What? Naruto asked, scandalized like the fox had just asked him grope the fifth Hokage. You heard me. Make like that tanuki bastard and grow some balls, then go hold the vixen's hand. Why? What do ya mean why? She looks like she's taking the death of the old crow hard, so go and comfort her. That's what any potential mate worth his chops would do. The Kyuubi explained like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Well, she does look sad but nothing. She's overly emotional right now and needs a rock. So go be that rock. How can you be so sure? I've lived 1,000 years, but more importantly I've had 2 hosts before you, both female. So I've got a better estimate of what females are thinking rather than most. You're right. Thanks, Fox. Naruto's mental projection smiled. Less talking, more rocking. Naruto pretended not to have heard that and found himself back in the real world, now in sight of the hidden sand village's massive walls. He quickly jogged over to where Sakura was walking and positioned himself right next to her. Sakura was focused on the stretcher ahead of her and didn't notice Naruto. Even with the caked-on grime and sweat, she still looked beautiful in Naruto's eyes. The way her hair shined in the afternoon sun left a golden streak across the top of her hair leading to her cute forehead. The way her legs swayed back and forth even while trudging through the sand was a sight to behold. How her pink mini skirt bounced off the front of her thighs and her butt made other parts of Naruto want to say hello. Forcing himself to focus on his target, Naruto noticed that her gloves had since been removed, meaning Naruto would have no choice but to initiate skin-to-skin contact. Do it already. Summoning up his courage, Naruto reached out and intertwined his fingers with Sakura's, pulling her hand out to meet his own halfway. Now all he could do was wait for the hammer to drop. Inside Sakura's mind, he touched me. I know. He's holding my hand. I know. Inner Sakura squealed in delight. What do I do? He touched me without permission. Should I hit him? But it feels so nice, and Lady Chio is dead, and I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling. Calm down, sugar tits. Let me just pop on down to Master Control and ask the girls what you're supposed to be feeling. In the meantime, don't let go of that hand. And don't even think of trying to punch him in here. Our body might take that as a command. Master Control. Wait, what? Sakura cried out, but her inner thoughts were silent. Deeper in Sakura's subconscious. Hey girls. Thought inner Sakura. What's the status? One of the multicolored personas untangled himself from the slap fight going on over the control panel. Inner Sakura recognized her by her purple skin. Fear. Well, we just word from the nerve center that Naruto was holding Sakura's hand. Sadness had been manning the controls for a while, but then joy and anger knocked her aside. Joy wants Sakura to focus on enjoying the hand holding, while anger is upset that Naruto didn't ask Sakura's permission first before touching her. Then disgust got in on it when she remembered that Sakura is still all dirty and smelly from the battle she just had. And so is Naruto. Sadness thinks it's too soon to stop grieving for Lady Chio. And I am too scared to do anything. Okay, why don't you three take 5 and leave joy and sadness to man the controls? Then disgust can take over once we get back to our hotel room or whatever with a shower. What about anger and me? You two will be on standby. Let's see where this hand holding takes us. Gotcha. Thanks, Inner. You always know just what to say. That's what I'm here for. Did you guys get all that? Fear yelled over all the commotion. Not that it was needed, since Joy had apparently already won the slap fight and was manning the controls with sadness off to the side. You freaking bitch, you slapped me right in the ear. Anger said. Ugh, whatever. Disgust said. Have Sakura hold sweaty palms. See if I care. Satisfied, Inner Sakura returned to Sakura's conscious mind. Hey there me. How ya feeling? Oh, what was that? Sorry. I'm just enjoying holding Naruto's hand. It's almost like we're a couple. Great, great. Just don't overthink it. Enjoy it. We've still got to confess to the baka when we get back to the leaf. What? Sakura thought dreamily, not really paying her inner thoughts any attention. Yeah, sure, whatever. Sakura's thoughts went into a pleasant haze when Naruto traced circles on the top of her hand with his thumb. My work here is done. Inner Sakura thought as she faded into the background of Sakura's subconscious. Vital landed on the rooftops and took off after Sakura and Naruto. Utilizing all the shinobi training she had absorbed over the past month to remain completely undetected. It wasn't hard really. Stick to the shadows, be mindful of your background in relative to the angle at which your target could see you, and roll your heels with each step. Simple. Adding chakra to the soles of your feet to soften the landing and muffle the sound help out too. You know you can just fly, right? Gohan deadpanned. Shut up. This is more fun. Vital stuck out her mental tongue at Gohan. Meanwhile, Naruto and Sakura had been wondering if they should call out Vital on her subpar tailing skills. Super-powered alien or not, the two Chunin were not so green that they couldn't notice a stalker with only a month of shinobi training under her belt. No sense beating around the bush. They silently agreed. Even in a large ninja village like theirs, word would get around fast beyond their control. Better to get it out of the way. In the middle of the park by the entrance of the village they stopped. The crescent moon shined down upon them like a spotlight. The trees were just tall enough to block out the city night lights, and the path they were on curved just so that no other hints of civilization could be seen. If they moved even 10 feet down the stone path in either direction, they would risk a building popping out from behind the foliage. For all intents and purposes, right there in that little spot in the middle of the village, they were the only two people in their own little world. Naruto looked to Sakura, whose pink locks shined brightly beneath the moonlight ever so slightly. Not that Naruto would care to notice, but the rest of Sakura's hair looked a mess. Bangs stuck out at odd angles or stuck to her forehead with sweat. Her clothes weren't in much better shape. Raggedy workout clothes that had been vigorously abused from hours of high-gravity sparring. Yet it was the way she carried herself that spellbound Naruto. Ever since completing her training with Tsunade, Sakura had their air of confidence about her that Naruto had seldom seen on her before. It was like she had just aced one of Iruka's impossible tests every day of the week. No matter what the challenge they may face out in the field, Sakura now looked like she had the answer. To heal any wound or punch any goon. Out of habit, Naruto snapped his head back forward when he thought Sakura was about to catch him staring at her. Now it was Sakura's turn to observe Naruto's golden locks positively glow in the moonlight. He too looked a mess, but Sakura could see a change in him from the goofy Naruto she had known 3 years ago. He no longer slumped when he walked, he stood tall and proud. A more mature man had taken his place, one who carried a heavy burden. Not just the burden Sakura had selfishly bestowed upon him back when he went out to bring back Sasuke, but a burden he had carried with him his entire life and one he would carry to his death. Sakura thought back to their last mission in the sand, when they had learned of the fate that was to befall Gaara and by association, Naruto. You said that tailed beasts were placed inside people in an attempt to control them and turn them into weapons for their villages. Sakura frantically questioned Lady Chio, like the answer might lead to life and death. That is correct, although in the end, no one could. So they merely sealed the demons away. But what about the people who were used to seal those demons? Sakura screamed. Sakura, Kakashi warned. Sakura bit her lip, wanting to choose her words carefully. What can be done to remove a tailed beast from its host? Sakura asked simply. At this, Naruto went wide-eyed at what she was suggesting. To extract a demon from its host, one needs a surplus amount of chakra equaling the demon's own chakra levels, and quite a bit of time. Sakura mentally went off the specifics in her head. So I'd need an amount of chakra equal or greater to the Kyuubi. I think Lady Tsunade once said that the 9 tails had a chakra level equal to 100 elite Junin. Where would we find 100 Junin willing to help us unseal the Kyuubi? Inner Sakura asked. We'd force him if we have to. Or I could store enough chakra in my seals like Lady Tsunade taught me. Equal to 100 men. It would take years. And even then you'd run out of skin long before. I have to do something. What's more, Chio continued, flashing Sakura back to reality. Once the unsealing is completed, a new equally powerful seal must be ready to store or bear the demon. For when the demon is removed from the host, no, the host dies. Even now the thought brought tears to Sakura's eyes. To know that someone as bright and as sweet as Naruto could be forced to bear such a terrible curse. That he had suffered for it, and what's worse, that Sakura had been a willing participant for so many years. Adding to Naruto's overwhelming grief when he already had so much thrust upon him on a daily basis. How can you say that? We didn't know, we were just kids following the example of our parents. We never questioned it. We just went along with the crowd for fear of alienating our other friends and Sasuke. It always comes back to him, doesn't it? Not this time. Sakura-chan. Naruto, they said in unison. Vital, who had taken up a perch on a 3-story building a block away, almost squealed in delight at seeing that old cliché in real life. Oh, this'll be perfect. What's happening? Gohan asked. Shish. I can barely hear them with chakra-enhanced ears. I don't need your voice in my head. Both Naruto and Sakura had finally shaken off the awkward exchange earlier and were regaining their confidence. I'll go first then. I think Pervy Sage would say that it's the gentlemanly thing to do. The whiskered youth said, trying to remember what lessons of chivalry his perverted master had tried to teach him that wouldn't get him pounded into gravy. Actually, Naruto, if it's all the same to you, I'd like to go first. Sakura asked. Of course. Sure thing, Sakura-chan, Naruto said, secretly delighted that he didn't have to go first. Sakura took a deep breath. This was going to be one of the most difficult things she had ever done. It hadn't been this difficult when she confessed to Sasuke. So why now? Because she wasn't desperate to make Naruto stay. He wasn't going anywhere. Maybe she had been more certain of her feelings towards Sasuke back then. Did that mean she didn't love Naruto as much? Or was there just more depth to her feelings for him that her crush on Sasuke couldn't match? So much for it not being about Sasuke. Shove it. Sakura exhaled and looked up at Naruto's ocean blue eyes. Just looking at his small smile gave her the courage to press on. As it had done so many times before. Naruto, I don't have any good memories of Sasuke. God damn it. Naruto gave her a curious look, but her own features told him to let her show him where she was going with this. What I mean is that I don't have any good memories of me and Sasuke alone, just the two of us. Most of the good memories I have with him are with you and Kakashi-sensei out on missions together or training. Just Team 7 things. Naruto nodded, further encouraging her to continue on. I do have one really good memory of just him and me. Right before we met Kakashi, Sasuke met up with me and complimented my forehead. Naruto felt his heart rising up to his throat. I had always hated my forehead, but Sasuke had said it was cute, that its size made him want to kiss it. I think at that moment I fell for him harder than I ever could. Meanwhile, on a nearby treetop that Vital had moved to listen in better, she was torn between herself wanting to fly down there and snatch Sakura away and cast a genjutsu on Naruto to make him think this was all a nightmare. But before he could kiss me, Sasuke lost his nerve and left. When he came back, he had reverted back to his usual stoic self. Afterwards, I decided to wait patiently for that softer side of Sasuke to appear again. But it never did. Naruto felt his heart breaking, not for fear of rejection, but for what he had done. After that, I can't remember a particularly bad memory with Sasuke either. For the longest time after you had left, I contemplated that. Until I realized I couldn't remember a bad memory with Sasuke, is because after each time he had belittled me on my uselessness or rejected another offer of mine for a date, you were there to eclipse the bad memory. Your annoying little antics always distracted me from how sad I was at being rejected again. You got me frustrated and angry at you rather than have me be sad about Sasuke. That's when I realized that more and more of my happier memories with Sasuke and with Team 7 usually revolved around you. Every time I felt down or discouraged, you were there to lift me back up. Watching you stand up to Zabuza, to Orochimaru, to Neji, hearing about you saving me from Gaara, and seeing you promise me to bring Sasuke back while you were bandaged up in the hospital like a mummy. You gave me the kick in the pants I needed to grow stronger. Back on the tree, Vital was shaking from giddiness. Good job, Sakura. But when you left, I soon found myself yearning for your return more than Sasuke's. To bring back the stupid outbursts you shout, the begging to go to Ichiraku's for lunch again, your boundless determination, your smile that could light up the night sky, and to bring back the sunshine I didn't realize you brought to my life until it was gone for 3 long years. Kakashi, who had been going on one of his midnight walks, now hid behind a nearby tree, was flabbergasted at what he had just walked into. Nevertheless, he was silently rooting for both his cute little students to finally make that step that his own teammates had failed to do in life. Naruto, if there is one thing that loving Sasuke has taught me, it's that you shouldn't give your heart away all at once. But Naruto, I want you to have my heart. Piece by piece, over time. Because I know that you will take it and put it back together. And even if my heart still does not remain yours, I want you to know that no matter what, I will be standing by your side through thick and thin. Sakura stepped forward and placed her right palm over Naruto's beating chest. Just as I know that you will always protect me as my hero. I want you to know that I will do everything in my power as a medic to keep your heart beating, until my own heart grows still. With that, Sakura stepped back and intertwined her hands behind her back. A content but nervous smile adored her face. Sage of 6 paths, girl. Save some for the wedding vows, her inner self said, but for once Sakura did not reply back. She had meant every word, and all that was left to wait for Naruto's reply. Meanwhile, their Sannin mentors were busy fighting for space behind a nearby bush. Will you back off? I'm trying to listen, Tsunade hissed. Not a chance, it's my student's turn. You got to listen in on yours, now I get mine. Jiraiya whispered back. Ha, like your dope of a student has anything near as good after hearing Sakura's confession. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? You sure you don't want to call off the bet? Last chance, consequence free. Not a chance. I've got a good feeling about tonight, and there ain't no way my apprentice will lose to your apprentice when it comes to love. Rubbing the back of his head, Naruto tried to think up an appropriate response. How many times in how many ways had he envisioned this moment? It always seemed so far out of reach, him confessing to Sakura and her taking him seriously or even accepting his feelings. He was right on the edge and had no choice but to do what he did best. Dive in. Sakura, I can't give you my heart. And what in the blue corn does that mean? Ino all but screamed in her head. She had dragged her two good-for-nothing teammates along to spy on Sakura and Naruto's confession because A. There were rapists wandering the late-night streets and B. She needed someone to slap during the juicer moments so that she wouldn't alert Sakura to her presence. Because you already own it. He finished. Troublesome. Thought Shikamaru as Ino slapped his and Choji's arms again. From the moment I first saw you with your pink hair I thought you were the cutest girl in the world. It always baffled me how someone as pretty and intelligent as you could be bullied the way you were. Sakura frowned a bit at being reminded of the lower points of her life. I used to think you were like me, an outsider, someone who just quite didn't fit in. But before I could summon up the courage to talk to you, you had made a friend with Ino. I was so happy for you, it gave me hope that I could make a friend too. And that ribbon she gave you, for the first time I could see your whole face and it was amazing. Alright brat, move on. The Toad Sage thought. But then I learned that you had a crush on Sasuke and I was sad. I tried approaching you, but you'd always reject me. I tried to get over it, but I couldn't stop loving you. Every time I saw you smile at Sasuke, I swear it was the cutest thing. So when we were put on the same team together, I was so happy, but still frustrated that you only had eyes for Sasuke. So, Naruto stopped. Sakura was worried. Did he lose his nerve? So you what, Naruto? She asked. So I vowed to always be there to support you. No matter what, as long as you continued to pursue Sasuke I would continue to pursue you. And even if you didn't choose me in the end, so long as you were happy, that would be enough for me. Sakura started tearing up at his selfless proclamation. That he was willing to go so far for her happiness, at the cost of his own if needed be. She wasn't worthy, she couldn't be. But now I guess you have chosen me, which is just, you have no idea how happy that makes me Sakura-chan. Sakura could swear the nighttime turned to day for an instant when he flashed her that ear-splitting grin. So since I couldn't keep my last promise to you, I'll make a new promise of a lifetime. Naruto took both of Sakura's hands into his own. Sakura was certain her heart stopped. Naruto could feel his own heart busting through his chest. Sakura, I will always love you and I will do everything in my power to keep you safe and keep that perfect smile on your face. Sakura had to take one of her hands away to cup her mouth. Her tears of joy just wouldn't stop flowing. Also, I completely agree with what Sasuke said. You really do have a large and charming forehead. It makes me want to kiss it. The blonde leaned forward and left a lingering kiss right in the center of the pinket's forehead. Sakura froze. Naruto tried to savor everything he could about the kiss. How warm Sakura's forehead felt against the cool evening air, the salty taste of her skin mixed with her body soap and the lingering scent of her strawberry shampoo. It was everything Naruto had ever imagined and more. Not wanting to spoil the moment, he broke the kiss on her forehead. He looked down to observe her expression. She looked up at him with huge innocent eyes. Like the most beautiful deer in the headlights you had ever seen. Her silence was beginning to creep him out actually. Sakura-chan. Without wasting time replying, Sakura grabbed her boyfriend's collar and pulled him into her awaiting lips. Their faces met in the middle and Sakura felt fireworks. She wrapped her arms around Naruto's head ensuring that he wouldn't be going anywhere anytime soon. Not that the blonde had anywhere else in the entire multiverse that he would rather be. He has his own hands around her waist and pulled her close, so close that the only things still between them were two pesky layers of clothing. Not that either of them minded, all that mattered was that it was just them, their partner, and they did it. Came the simultaneous cries of seemingly all their friends. The two lovebirds quickly separated, only from kissing, they still held an iron grip on one another. To notice that they had been quite literally surrounded by all of their friends and teammates. There was the Konoha 11, all their Junin leaders including Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, and Kurenai, their mentors Tsunade and Jiraiya, Shizune who had brought Tonton the pig along, and last but not least, newcomers Vital and Gohan, both of whom were flying overhead with shit-eating grins on their faces. Don't tell me you guys were spying on us the whole time. Naruto asked as Sakura buried her head in his jacket to avoid the embarrassment of having to look at anyone. And what? Miss out on a teammate love triangle being resolved once and for all. No way we'd miss out on seeing such juicy gossip firsthand. Ino explained like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Pig. Sakura growled. How dare her best friend spy on something so private, and let all their friends get away with it too. No threesome for her. Inner Sakura stated manner of factly. Inner. Oh, quit being melodramatic. Forehead. This has been a long time coming and we weren't going to miss a second of it. Now come here. Ino reached out and yanked Sakura from the clutches of Naruto. Hey wait. Pig. Where are we going? Sakura screeched with still clinging to Naruto's chest, who was trying to hold onto her for dear life. To my house, silly. We're having a sleepover right now to discuss every little detail of what just happened. Especially about that kiss. Ino smirked. The thought of that kiss still made her wet. Hinata. Tenten. Vital. Come on. Whoa now. Pig. You mean the kiss I just had with Naruto? Can't it wait until morning? I wanna spend some more time with my boyfriend. Wait, boyfriend? Naruto asked dumbfounded. Does that mean we're dating? A gust of leaves blew by. Yes, it means we're dating, you idiot. Sakura yelled. Honest to God, it was late and she barely had the energy to deal with her friends right now, let alone her clueless boyfriend. My, aren't you quick? 1 minute of dating and you're already calling Naruto our boyfriend like you would slip on a comfortable pair of jeans. Oh, spare me, Inner. And I thought you were supposed to disappear when I start being honest with myself. I'm dating Naruto, so you can go away now. I'll only stop commenting when it stops being funny. Gah! Sakura screamed out loud. Between the aliens from another dimension, Sasuke's death, the Akatsuki, and the upcoming mission she needed to vent. So the medic broke free of her platinum blonde friend's iron grip and wrapped herself all up in Naruto for another kiss. Right in front of every one of her loved ones save for her parents. After a minute, or what seemed like an hour, the two broke free with an audible pop. The onlookers could only gawk in silence. Nobody wanted to ruin this moment for either of them. Lunch date at Ichiraku's, she suggested. Can we make it breakfast? I'll miss you too much by then. He counter-offered. No, I want time to freshen up for our first date and look beautiful for you. You always look beautiful to me. Flattery will get you everywhere, you know. She smiled. I'm counting on it, ya know. He smiled back. One by one their friends dispersed, leaving the two newly formed couple to continue their walk back to Sakura's place. The entire way back they walked hand in hand, or held each other close, whatever the wind chill was like. Not a word was said between them, none were needed. Finally they reached her front door and shared one last kiss goodnight, the promise of their lunch date the only thing making the next few hours of separation worth it. Sakura shut the door and Naruto remained outside waiting for the lights to turn off. Finally they did and he was left in the hands of moonlight to guide his way home. Hey brat, the Kyuubi softly spoke. Yeah, Naruto replied giddily. Not even talking to the bastard fox was going to bring his mood down tonight. Great job and all landing your vixen. Nice work. Huh, thanks, I guess. Naruto replied, not used to receiving praise or anything positive from the demon fox. Just one question. Why didn't you tell her that you were the one who complimented her forehead all those years ago and not that emo bastard you transformed into? Naruto was almost taken back that the fox had noticed that. Figures it would know everything going on with Naruto, but Naruto never assumed that he'd be watch all the time. Because I failed in my promise to her to bring Sasuke back to her. The least I can do is let her keep the one good memory she has of her first love. So you're willing to lie to her forever just so that she can cling to one good memory she has of that bastard? Like I said before, so long as Sakura is happy, it's worth it. The blonde said with finality. The fox offered no more words. Soon the thoughts faded from the orange ninja's mind and were replaced by the excitement that he had a date with his beloved Sakura-chan tomorrow. He drifted off to sleep a few minutes later, completely content. Naruto could not remember waking up in such a good mood before in his life. The sun shined a little bit brighter, the air was a little bit crisper, the toast he had for breakfast was just the right amount of brown with the butter all melted, and the orange juice seemed extra sweet today. I wonder what has got me in such a great mood, he thought to himself. His eyes wandered about his tiny apartment. From the carton of milk on his kitchen table that was about to expire, it was that 17th right. To the pile of clothes scattered around the floor that weren't quite dirty enough to merit washing, and the pile of clothes that definitely needed a wash. Naruto frowned at the thought of his inevitable chores, and his eyes reached his tiny windowsill garden. While his love for ramen was a well-known fact, only a few of Naruto's closest friends knew that he loved to garden. The act of watering and tending to pot plants was a calming exercise that the third Hokage had tried to teach the boy to turn his mischievous energy into something constructive. He had failed miserably in that regard, but the blonde still kept up a garden. It being one of the few pastimes that he shared with his surrogate grandfather. He tried to keep up a wide variety of plants, lilacs, lilies, daffodils, one of his favorites being the cherry blossom. It being the namesake to his teammate Sakura, and holy crap, I'm dating Sakura, that wasn't a dream. He frantically realized. How could he forget something so important? Yet even now it felt too good to be true. As it dawned on him, his mood only brightened. I've got a date with Sakura. I've got a date with Sakura. He mentally sang to himself. He opened his eyes to look at the old clock on his wall that read 1:22 p.m. I'm late. Damn you, Kakashi. He mentally accused his teacher of rubbing off on him. Miles away, Kakashi looked up from his book for a moment before returning to the page he was on. Leaping from his seat, Naruto scooped up his dishes and tossed them in the sink. No time to listen to the glass break, he hopped in the shower. No time for the nitty-gritty, he was over an hour late and only had time for the essentials. Crotch, pits, hair and face. He mentally listed, remembering Pervy Sage's technique on a quick shower. He quickly dried himself while gargling mouthwash, then picked up the least whiffy shirt he could find and threw it on underneath his usual orange jacket and pants. Slipping on his sandals, he pocketed his keys and wallet and spit out his mouthwash onto the concrete sidewalk. Like an orange bat out of hell, he took off towards his favorite restaurant, Ichiraku Ramen, the pinnacle of fine cuisine. At least that is what Naruto would say to anyone who asked. The whiskered ninja soon arrived at the agreed-upon meeting place, only to find Sakura to be nowhere in sight. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. He thought. This can't be happening. I finally get a chance to go on a real date with Sakura-chan and I blow it before the date can even begin. Oh hey, Naruto. Sakura cried out. The hopeless fool turned around to see the love of his life standing out there in the open, waving at him. She was dressed in a long light green turtleneck with a gust of Sakura petals stitched into the side of the design. With her lower half she sported a black mini skirt that complemented her top and equally matching sandals more suited for casual fashion rather than their usual ninja work. Naruto noticed none of this, as all he could focus on was his girlfriend's dazzling smile. Thinking back on it, it was the same smile he had seen her give Sasuke so many times in their past, but now it was reserved for him and him alone. Naruto. Earth to Baka. Sakura snapped her fingers in front of her boyfriend, who seemed to have been lulled into a trance. What? He asked, dazed. I said I was sorry that I was late. I kinda got held up picking out an outfit and well, I guess Kakashi-sensei is rubbing off on me. She joked. Miles away, Kakashi looked up from the black stone monument which had inscribed upon it the names of the fallen shinobi of the last war, including some of Kakashi's best friends. He figured it was nothing and resumed his morning self-reflection. Yeah, I think I know what you mean, Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head in his trademarked way. The two finished exchanging their pleasantries. They continued on to Ichiraku's arm in arm. Occasionally they chatted about nonsense, but mostly they were content to enjoying each other's company. So Naruto, Sakura began out of the blue. Is there a reason you are in your usual jacket? Oh crap. Well, we have Vitals Bell test later, so I thought it'd be best if I went in my usual clothes to save time. Oh really? Sakura asked with a slightly dark tone that made Naruto gulp. Idiot, you're blowing it. Say these words exactly. The Kyuubi commanded. Wait, what? Just do it. So that way I could spend the most time with you on our date and not be late for our newest teammate. He robotically spoke off. Oh, I see, that makes sense. Sakura chirped. A content smile returned to her face as she rested her head back on her boyfriend's shoulder. Holy crap, that was a good save. Thanks, Fox. Don't mention it, kid. Just keep your eyes open during mating. Does that mean? Inside of Sakura's mind. Oh my god, I knew I was too overdressed. Sakura mentally groaned. Plus it was Ichiraku's, what was she thinking? You were thinking of dressing up nice for your boyfriend. Her inner self counseled. And he's lying, he didn't plan that far ahead. Look, his hair is still damp. He probably just rushed out of his apartment and grabbed the first thing he could find. You're right, inner. But we can't call him out on it or we'll appear to doubt him and his good intention. Plus it still might be his actual intention, he does think of others very often. True. Punch him just in case though. Back in the real world, Sakura slugged Naruto right in his arm that she was holding with her other arm. The boy winced at the sudden pain that his girlfriend had inflicted upon him. I thought I was in the clear. You never are when it comes to females. The fox wisely told him. Sakura-chan, what was that for? He whined. Crap, we didn't plan this far ahead. What do I say? Don't worry me, we got this. Just give me control for a second. I like to hear your reaction, Sakura spoke aloud. Naruto stared at her with an awkward expression at his girlfriend's curious interest. No more words were said between the couple for the rest of the trip. That's when Sakura realized that the two of them had become the center focus of a lot of onlookers. Ninja villages were always massive breeding grounds for gossip, the mixing of civilians and shinobi ensured that. So to see the up-and-coming apprentice to the 5th Hokage walking hand in hand with the infamous Uzumaki boy stirred up quite a lot of hushed whispers. Sakura gave Naruto's hand a tighter squeeze, being mindful of her chakra-enhanced strength this time around. She was not about to take any crap from any of the remnants of Naruto's hate club. He was a hero to this village and as dedicated a ninja as could be found. She would straight up murder anyone who would dare suggest otherwise. That's when her hero let go of her hand and fell to his knees. Naruto, what's wrong? Sakura asked frantically, worried that he might have come down with some kind of fast-acting illness. The blonde began sobbing into the dirt. Naruto, she asked, now more concerned than ever. Sakura-chan, it's horrible, he said in a shaky voice. Sakura had absolutely no idea what he was going on about until he reached out and pointed at the building in front of them. Sakura recognized their destination, Ichiraku's, which seemed to be covered in scorch marks and had a sign out front. Fire damage. Closed for repairs until further notice. Sorry for any inconvenience. Management. I should have seen this coming. Naruto said. God wouldn't give me something I love so much without taking something else away from me. Sakura could only stare down at her idiot boyfriend with an annoyed expression on her face. Typical of him to be so melodramatic about such things. Still, a part of her was happy that he offhandedly said that he loved her. Come on, Naruto. We'll find somewhere else to eat. She patted him on the back. Naruto groaned but stood up and was led away by his embarrassed girlfriend. We could go to the barbecue place, it's got stir fry and that's pretty similar to ramen. Don't you dare whine about how stir fry is nothing like ramen when your vixen is trying to cheer you up. The fox warned his host. Okay, fine. Geez, Fox, what's up with your new talkative attitude anyway? Why are you being so helpful with me dating Sakura-chan? Because after 100 years of imprisonment, I've got a vested interest in seeing you score, as you humans might say. Score? You wanna mate have with Sakura-chan. Pipe down, brat. Our chakra networks are intertwined, so by a happy coincidence, our senses are intertwined as well. So that means, think of it as my compensation for when I inevitably let you use my stamina to rock that vixen's world. I don't think I'm comfortable with this. Try being in my shoes and having to spend the last 80 years sharing the experience of my two female hosts. Wait, you had two other hosts besides me. What were their names? Why the hell would I tell you that? It won't help either of us get laid. Oh come on, now I'm curious. Forget it, brat, we may be stuck together but don't mistake us for friends. I would still very much like to break out of here. Now agree with whatever the vixen is saying. Naruto, are you even listening to me? Sakura asked, annoyed. Huh, what? Yes, of course, I completely agree with what you are saying, Sakura-chan. The blonde tried to fake a smile, but his girlfriend was far too smart for that. Naruto, you haven't been listening to a word I've said, have you? She stopped walking and stood in front of her boyfriend as he stood on thin ice. Deny everything and distract her with compliments. No, I'm sorry, Sakura-chan, I got pulled into a conversation with the fox. He admitted. Sakura went wide-eyed. You mean the nine-tailed fox inside you? She whispered, not wanting to attract unwanted attention. The very same. While she had known for some time that her teammate was the host to the Great Demon Fox, Sakura had never imagined that the Kyuubi could talk to Naruto. But in what way? Was it similar to how she talked to her inner self? What did he tell you? Nothing you need to worry about, but he does approve of you and me. Naruto added. Oh, well that's, Sakura was flabbergasted. 9 minutes into the first date and she had already learned more about the Kyuubi than months of research in the Hokage archives had ever taught her. Every detailed account of the Kyuubi had described it as mass of chakra and hatred. Devoid of human emotion except for rage. Instead, it seemed to have personal opinions if it had approved of Sakura dating its host. Did that mean that the Kyuubi liked Sakura? It was a weird thought. Unknown to either Sakura or Naruto, up on the rooftops crouched a mischievous figure. A young genin with brown hair and a blue scarf flapping in the wind. In his hand was a box of water balloons filled to the brim with paint. His eye fixated on his target with trained precision, mentally counting down for the moment to unleash his cargo. It was a simple plan, but as his boss had always told him regarding pranks, simple was often the best. Although the boss did stress that the best pranks were ones that the victims could also laugh at, this time the young ninja was acting out of vendetta and not simple good-natured fun. This is what you get, big bro. The prankster thought, until he noticed that his intended target was walking hand in hand with his pink-haired teammate. What's her face? So you're with your girlfriend, huh? No matter. Actually, this is better. I was gonna get to her down the line for taking you away from me, but this works too. The unsuspecting couple had entered the tunnel that was located underneath the building that the boy was hiding atop of. The tunnel was the length of a typical shop's width. At their pace, they would arrive on the other side in 5 seconds. The boy quickly gathered his paint-filled balloons and got into position on the other side. He would have to strike approximately 2 seconds after the targets exited the tunnel. Naruto himself had taught the boy everything he knew about pranks. He would be on guard near exits, corners, choke points. Out in the open would be the best place to catch him off guard. Finally, the two lovebirds exited the tunnel standing even closer together. This is almost too easy. Now or never, the young ninja hurled his payload at the oblivious couple. All 24 water balloons were directed right on target. If the prankster was a novice, he might have shouted at his victims to make them turn their heads so that he could witness their reactions, but knowing Naruto, that would give him all the time he needed to avoid the prank. Hey Naruto, look out. Back on the ground, the blonde in question sensed a threat. Reacting quickly, he shoved his girlfriend to the side to put some distance between her and whatever attack was coming Naruto's way. He whipped around only to feel the sensation of a cool liquid splash against his backside, then another, and soon a barrage of what seemed to be paint balloons exploded into Naruto's chest. Bullseye! The young ninja shouted in his head with giggling giddiness. He was sitting behind the concrete railing of the building, lest he be spotted and give himself away. Oh no, the blonde's day of terror was far from over. The prankster opened his eyes to begin phase 2 of his master plan was he was confronted face to face with a completely paint-free Naruto. Oh hey boss, fancy meeting you here ga. The boy choked out. The shadow clone of Naruto quickly grabbed the young ninja by the scruff of his neck and shushed the two down to the streets where the real Naruto was waiting. Standing there covered in orange paint with an angry look on his face that the boy had never seen. Konohamaru, what the hell do you think you are doing? The paint-soaked ninja ranted. To an outside observer who knew the history of the pair, seeing Naruto give a lecture to Konohamaru had only been imagined in nightmares. I was getting back at you, big bro. Konohamaru said while struggling against his boss's shadow clone to no avail. What the heck? Did the pervy sage's training include super strength? What are you talking about? What did I do to you? You ignored me. The brown-haired boy cried, tears threatening to spill down his face. Huh, Naruto said in shock. You leave for 3 years, promising me that when you get back you'd teach me some more awesome jutsus and we'd hang out some more. Maybe go on missions once I got my own team. Well, I did. I came back from a mission with them and I hear that you've been back for 2 weeks. And you didn't tell me. I go out looking for you and you're off on another mission. You finally come back and you're off going on dates or whatever and I missed you, boss. Konohamaru broke down. Words failed Naruto. During his time back at the Leaf he hadn't even thought of Konohamaru, so much had been going on. Yet all the same, he felt completely selfish to let his little partner in crime feel abandoned. How often had Naruto felt that way during his childhood? And here he was with Konohamaru, the boy who was the first to idolize him, and he was making him cry. The kid was the closest thing Naruto had to a little brother. He had to make this right. Konohamaru, come here. Naruto motioned to Konohamaru to step forward and for his shadow clone to disperse. Both obeyed. Naruto then wrapped his protege in a bear hug. Get off me, boss. Konohamaru scrambled to untangle himself from his mentor's arms. What? I thought big brothers were supposed to hug their little brothers or something. Not in public, it's embarrassing. Konohamaru blushed, hoping that his reputation wasn't tarnished. Besides, you're covered in paint. Naruto smiled, finding an opportunity to tease the boy to get back at him for that prank. Oh, I think you owe me, now come here. No way. Konohamaru shouted in a mix of horror and laughter. Naruto then proceeded to chase Konohamaru around in circles in the street. Onlookers laughed at the cute display of brotherly affection. Come on, Konohamaru, I just wanna congratulate you on your great prank with a big, friendly who. Out of nowhere, Naruto was rocketed face first into a women's clothing store by his irate girlfriend's monster strength punch. Standing over a tripped over Konohamaru in the middle of the street was Sakura covered head to toe in smashed fruit, complete with half a watermelon perched on the top of her head like a fez. Baka, knock me into a fruit stand will you? You've got a lot of nerve. The fruit-wearing girl huffed. The whole block went silent. Over the years most everyone had heard of the legendary temper of their Hokage. To see her apprentice showing off the same tendencies made it very clear to everyone that this girl was not to be crossed. That poor boy, they all thought in one way or another. Much to everyone's relief, the boy in question emerged from the bombed-out ruins of Lady Shu's women's apparel looking relatively in one piece. Except for what he was wearing. Sakura's punch had somehow knocked the clothing off of Naruto and threw the rest of him into a neon pink maternity dress with green skinny jeans wrapped around his arms and a purple and orange polka-dotted bra hanging off of his head like 2 mouse ears. The boy walked towards his girlfriend, rubbing his bruised cheek without noticing his new wardrobe. The two teens looked over one another, taking in each other's appearance. The crowd was hushed. No one said a word. Snort! 2 lovebirds burst out laughing. The tension vanished and members of the crowd joined in. Oh my god, Snickers, I'm so sorry, madam, I didn't mean to hit you that hard. Ahahaha. Sakura said while trying to catch her breath. Oh ho, a lady am I. Hee hee. Well, bursts into another fit of laughter, well at least I don't look like a fruit. Ha ha ha. Naruto said trying to hold back his tears. The two started to lean on each other, drunk on their own giddiness. Naruto took some melon bits that had gotten stuck on Sakura's shoulder and plopped it in his mouth, earning him a gentle slap from Sakura, who took a strawberry that was lodged in her cleavage and ate that in front of him. Konohamaru thought this the best time to escape now among all the delightful confusion. Just silently slip back into the crowd and, where do you think you're going? The loving couple shouted at him in sync. Konohamaru knew that he was in for it now. Naruto and Sakura looked over him like parents would look over their naughty child. Although Sakura looked less motherly and more stern punishment, while Naruto looked less tough father and more you ed now boy. You're not getting away that easy. Naruto lectured. As punishment for interrupting my first date with Sakura-chan and nearly getting paint on her. You must. Konohamaru braced himself for whatever horrible punishment lay in store for him. Come join me for training at the gravity room. The gravity what now? Konohamaru asked. Relief washing over him that he wouldn't be forced to be Naruto's slave for a week or something like that. Long story, but some friends I met on my travels have this amazing training room that can increase your strength and speed 100 times over in a matter of days. And I'd like you to join me on some training. You serious boss? Konohamaru whooped. The thought of getting some one-on-one training with his surrogate brother was a dream come true. You betcha. I promised to train you when I got back, didn't I? It's gonna have to be in a week though. Me and Sakura-chan have a mission tomorrow that is super important to the Leaf. But I promise you that as soon as I get back we'll do some one-on-one training. You can head over to the gravity room now to build up your endurance so that we can be on more level ground when I return. What do you say? I say yes. The boy ran up and hugged his big brother, who returned the hug with a pat on the head. After explaining where the gravity room was located, Konohamaru left in a hurry to catch up to his idol. Naruto waved goodbye to his little brother with a smile on his face stretching from ear to ear. That was an amazing thing you did for Konohamaru, Naruto. You're an amazing older brother. Oh, I don't know about that. I just did what I thought was fair. Besides, what kind of sensei would I be if I just blew off my student when he asks for training? Kakashi gave a quick sneeze from the inside of the Hokage Tower broom closet. Bless you, Shizune said. Thanks. The copycat ninja replied. Back with the pairing we care about. The blonde gave a content sigh, grateful that he could be the brother to Konohamaru that Naruto never had. So are we gonna prank that little twerp back or what? Sakura gave a devilish smirk, looking off in the direction that Konohamaru left in. Naruto looked at his girlfriend with a look of awe. God, do I love you. Sakura giggled before pulling her boyfriend into a paint and dried fruit stained kiss. Shower at my place, he suggested. God, do I love you. She repeated back to him. The two leapt off towards the Uzumaki residence while leaving their bra and their melon fez behind. Back with Naruto and Sakura. They had reached their destination and Naruto had finished fumbling with his keys to let them in. He seemed nervous, but Sakura was certain that it wasn't for the same reason she was nervous. Her suspicions were confirmed when she caught the glimpse of a shadow clone poofing out of existence, leaving behind an absolute pigsty. Dear God, and I thought that old lady's shop was a mess. Don't tell me all those detours we took was to give his clones time to clean up, and this is the result. Inner asked. It's the thought that counts, I suppose. Sakura replied back while eyeing a crusty pair of socks hanging off of the lampshade. We're gonna have to whip this boy into shape to get him anywhere near usable boyfriend material. Seriously. Sorry about the mess, Sakura-chan. Naruto sheepishly said, rubbing the back of his neck. That's okay, Naruto. I'm sure you weren't expecting to be bringing a lady home with you so quickly. Sakura replied with a sultry expression. She patted the dumbstruck boy on the cheek before waltzing over to the bathroom, taking extra effort to sway her hips back and forth as painfully slow as possible for the poor boy to see. That's right, my little fox, eyes on the prize. Whoa ho. Damn girl, Inner commented. Naruto just stood there unable to speak a word while another part of his anatomy was screaming to say hello. Inside his bathroom, Sakura began to strip off all her sticky, fruit-smeared clothes. She gathered them all up in a bundle and made a big show of handing them outside of the bathroom, only exposing her right arm from behind the doorway. Naruto, could you be a dear and wash these for me so I have something to wear when I get out? That snapped the blonde ninja out of his haze and he dumbly agreed, why yes, ma'am. He scampered off to find the laundry detergent and dryer sheets. Damn girl, we've got him wrapped around our little finger. I know, right? Sakura gave a smile before locking the bathroom door. While she never wanted to take advantage of Naruto's kindness, being treated like a princess every now and again was also very enticing. Now why did you go and lock the door? Our boy toy could have come in and helped us with our back. This is literally the first date. If Naruto wants to shower with me, he is going to have to work for it. Oh, we'll make him work alright. Hehehe. Inner chuckled to herself, imagining all the possibilities she could have with Naruto on a leash, both metaphorically and literally. Sakura finished up her shower and left the bathroom feeling refreshed. Just then, Naruto re-entered his apartment empty-handed. So your clothes should be dry in half an hour. Sakura. Naruto stopped when he noticed his girlfriend was out of the shower and sitting on his couch wearing only one of his green towels around her torso with another green towel wrapped around her head like a turban. Chan. Oh, that's great, thank you Naruto. Sakura smiled, crossing her legs over one another. Naruto could feel a nosebleed coming on. You can use the bathroom by the way, I'll just relax over here. Sakura decided to play the disinterest card and stared at her nails like she was waiting for some imaginary nail polish to dry. Well that's, the overwhelmed boy decided that he got his point across and left to enter the bathroom to begin his own washing up, preferably with a cold shower. Geez, I thought you said you wanted to make him work for it. Not torture the poor boy. No, it's just that Naruto has waited so long for me I thought I'd throw him a bone. Oh you little vixen. When Naruto exited his own bath he thought he had finally calmed himself down. Until he saw sitting in the exact same spot that he had left her in, only this time she was wearing a pair of his boxers and one of his favorite t-shirts with the stylized froggy printed on the front that was 3 sizes too big for Sakura. Oh hey Naruto. Sakura said, delighted to see him. She patted the seat next to her, asking the blonde to sit down. He wordlessly complied, grateful that he had thought to bring his own fresh pair of clothes with him to his shower. If he hadn't, Sakura would have been clearly about to see the tent he was pitching. Sakura. Naruto looked over the love of his life. It was incredible how only 2 weeks ago he was ecstatic from just the opportunity to see her again after 3 years. Never in his wildest dreams would he be welcomed back and made her boyfriend so quickly. And to see her sitting comfortably in his apartment, wearing his clothes. It was like seeing your flag on captured enemy territory. I hope you don't mind that I took some of your clothes, there was just nothing else for me to wear and this shirt looked so comfy. She batted her eyelashes. No problem Sakura-chan. I mean that was one of my favorite shirts, but it looks good on you. Like, really good. Great even. He added. Why thank you. I was thinking of keeping it then. Maybe use it as pajamas. She subtlety told him. Naruto felt his heart race imagining Sakura wearing his favorite shirt to bed every night. If he ever got it back he would hang it up on his wall as a monument. Go right ahead, he said, trying to avoid her gaze so that she wouldn't notice his blush. She did. Sorry about our date, it probably wasn't the best first date ever. We never got to go to lunch in the end. Yeah, it was pretty crummy. But we'll just have to practice that, won't we? She suggested. Naruto's face light up and the certainty of more dates in his future. What do you say for our next date we plan for our ultimate revenge prank against Konohamaru? Sakura suggested. I didn't know you were so into pranks, Sakura. To be honest, I always found your pranks funny, Naruto. Especially that first one you pulled on Kakashi-sensei, or when you painted the Hokage monument in broad daylight. You always knew how to break up the monotony of everyday school life. I just wasn't honest about it so that I wouldn't alienate myself from some people. Naruto nodded, knowing exactly who she meant by some people. But that has changed, Naruto. Being around you, I can be a lot more honest with myself. Sakura scooted closer to Naruto, their shoulders touching. And if I'm being honest with myself right now, then I know of a way that we can salvage this date. She whispered in his ear. Naruto shivered at the feeling of her warm breath tickling his neck. I think I do too, Sakura-chan. The two Chunins leaned forward into each other for a kiss. At first it was a quick peck, then they dived right in. Unlike their first kiss in front of all their friends and loved ones, this new kiss was a lot more awkward and clumsy, more experimental. Here in the privacy of Naruto's living room they could try out new things they hadn't attempted for fear of scrutiny in front of other. As their tongues became more daring, so too did their hands. Sakura's traced up Naruto's chest over to his shoulders and finally wrapped around his neck, bringing him in closer. While Naruto went the opposite direction, cupping Sakura's face before gently dragging down to her shoulders and skimming the sides of her, then wrapping themselves around her hips. Sakura played with Naruto's spiky locks while Naruto rubbed up and down Sakura's thighs. After a minute, they separated with an audible pop, leaving only a thin trail of saliva hanging between them. Ocean blue met sea green and they pressed against one another again. This time Naruto's hands went up to feel Sakura's soft nape of her neck while Sakura trailed down to feel every crevice of Naruto's hardened back muscles. Then she gave his tight butt a good squeeze. Hey, no fair, he whispered between pecks on her lips, I was being respectful. Too bad, she whispered back, I wear the pants, so I get to set the tone. She gave his behind a small pinch. You wear the pants, do you? He slyly asked. Naruto then lifted Sakura up by her bottom and pounced on the spot between her neck and her shoulder, eliciting a yelp from the pink-haired vixen. Naruto. Sakura-chan. Meanwhile, Vital was searching high and low for Naruto and Sakura, checking all the usual dating spots she could imagine. Cute little cafes, bigger and more expensive restaurants, secluded spots along the park walkway, even the movie theater, but she couldn't find hide nor hair of the pair. Which actually gave her a decent tour of potential dating spots for her and Gohan. Focus. She thought. She needed to find her good-for-nothing teammates already. Oh, screw it. Vital focused her senses to search out for Naruto and Sakura. She had found them pretty easily, but the location where she found them and the fact that their energies were fluctuating rapidly set off some red flags. What in the hell are they do? Oh my god. On their first date? Vital thought with a blush covering her face. Vital, this is King Kai. They aren't doing what you think they are doing. They are just making out. Oh, well, that's different. I thought they were getting a little too. Nope. But you can snap them out of it if you want before they do. King Kai suggested. Also, be mindful of the future. I have a gut feeling that things are going to go upside down out there, so be careful. I understand, King Kai. Thanks for the heads up. Vital sighed. Not only did she hate breaking up a romantic moment between her friends, but now she had to worry about a potential threat looming down upon them. But, Vital didn't have time to dwell on those thoughts. She had more pressing matters to attend to. Hey, you two mind saving that shit for after my test? Vital screamed into their minds. What the was that? Naruto screamed. It's Vital. I have been waiting here with Kakashi-sensei for almost an hour now. Quit the tongue wrestling and get your asses here before I come drag you here by your hair, damn it. Vital was clearly pissed off, and the fact that she was being kept waiting for the new couple's love fest didn't exactly calm her down any. Sorry, Vital, we didn't realize how much time had gone by. We're on our way now. Sakura said, her face redder than a beet. How are we talking this way anyway? Naruto thought. I'll explain later. Just hurry up, alright. Vital said sternly and cut the mental link. Back at the ruins of the Tenchi Bridge, Kakashi had been playing the most intense game of keep away in his life. Naruto had gone completely ballistic, the Kyuubi had poisoned his mind and he could no longer tell friend from foe. He attacked anything that moved, yet he seemed especially drawn to Sakura. What especially wasn't helping matters was that Sakura had chosen that exact moment to go into a daze, forcing Kakashi to have to jump around her, daydreaming, weighing him down. Meanwhile, Yamato was attempting to seal away the Kyuubi chakra in Naruto, but it was proving impossible. Naruto would just break free of any restraints Yamato put on him and the wood user was starting to run low on chakra. Inside Sakura's mind, memories were flashing all around her. My dream is to one day be the greatest Hokage ever. Then the villagers will stop hating me and treat me like I'm somebody. Somebody important. Nice to see you're back, master. But I can do it. I'm awesome. Hey, Sakura-chan, can you help me get the hang of this? Don't ever underestimate me. I don't quit and I don't run. Don't worry, Sakura-chan, this'll be a piece of cake. Sakura-chan, what happened to your hair? If you let yourself lose that crazy Sasuke chaser, you'll be a disgrace to all women. I vow to win. Hey Sakura-chan. Hey Sakura-chan. Sakura-chan, don't you worry one bit. I'll bring Sasuke back to you in no time. It's a promise of a lifetime. I never go back on my word. 'Cause that is my shinobi way. Hey Sakura-chan. God, do I love you. With every flash of her memories, Sakura tried to fill the image of Naruto with this new image of the demon he had become. It just didn't add up. This isn't Naruto. Sakura thought as she felt her mental projection being twirled around to face her inner self. No shit. Now get out there. Naruto needs you. Her inner self screamed. Sakura was snapped back into reality where she was being held in Kakashi's arms while he dodged another one of Kyuubi Naruto's slash attacks. She untangled herself from her sensei's arms and stood up. Is your head back in the game, Sakura? Kakashi demanded. There was no time for niceties. Yeah, I'm good, Sakura replied, not taking her eyes off of Naruto as he tried to dislodge his arm which had gotten stuck after that last attack hit the ground. Good. Then heal up Yamato. He's the only one that can seal the Kyuubi's chakra. I'll keep Naruto distracted. Before Sakura could say a word in reply, Kakashi had already sprinted towards the Jinchuriki. His Sharingan uncovered and working overtime to anticipate the raging Jinchuriki's movements. He fired off the appropriate signs to active his lightning blade technique. Although instead of thrusting his fingertips into the Kyuubi vessel's flesh, he struck him with his open palm, sending an electric shock pulsing through the Kyuubi host. It wasn't enough though, as the boy simply grew angrier. Kakashi jumped over his target as the vessel thrashed about. Kakashi struck again, this time hitting the boy's lower back and then his thigh, still no effect. 3 pulses of electric current through a target's nervous system was always more than enough to incapacitate them. Either the fox's chakra was nullifying Kakashi's lightning jutsu or the demon chakra itself was controlling Naruto's movements. While Kakashi played tag with the mini demon fox, Sakura was hard at work restoring Yamato's chakra. We need a plan. Yamato spoke in between grunts of pain. His muscles felt incredibly sore after just a short time dodging Naruto's attacks. I thought Kakashi said you could seal away the Kyuubi's chakra. Sakura asked, forcing herself to focus on her patient instead of her boyfriend. I can, but it takes time to drain the Kyuubi's chakra away and I can't pin Naruto down. It's all that damn gravity training he does. It increased his base strength to unimaginable levels and the Kyuubi chakra only enhanced that, so my wood isn't enough to hold him still. Yamato explained. That set a light bulb off in Sakura's head. Captain Yamato, do you think you have enough chakra to seal the Kyuubi chakra away? Yeah, but only to seal it away. That things are going, I'd need the chakra of 2 other Junin to be able to hold Naruto down. Sakura stopped her mystic palm technique midway through healing Yamato. What are you? Alright, get ready to seal him. Sakura tightened her black gloves, a habit she developed whenever getting ready for a tough fight. Sakura, you're not planning on fighting Naruto, are you? Me and Kakashi can handle this, we just need to wait for Kakashi to wear Naruto down so that Sakura, wait. Yamato shouted as Sakura made a beeline for Naruto at speeds barely visible to the human eye. Kakashi was on his last leg fighting against Naruto. Literally, one of Naruto's swipes had cut into one of his leg tendons and he was finding it difficult to put any weight on his right leg. Soon adrenaline would wear off and that would be it. He'd have to try something lethal if things didn't improve. Naruto lunged at Kakashi, who was preparing his chakra for another quick leap when the enraged Jinchuriki found himself yanked back down to the ground by his tail. On the other end was Sakura holding the end of one of his tail. The bloody chakra smeared across her shirt as the actual Kyuubi chakra burned her skin. Tears were streaking down her cheeks, yet a look of pure determination could be seen in her green eyes. Sakura, are you crazy? Get back! Kakashi screamed, but it was too late. Kyuubi Naruto got over the shock of the girl's boldness of grabbing his tail and lunged at her. Instead of dodging back, she stepped into the Jinchuriki's path, managing to pin the boy's arms into an iron grip hug. The Kyuubi vessel thrashed about with all his strength, but Sakura had been training in the gravity room as well. With her chakra enhancing her already impressive base strength, the most the Jinchuriki could do was dig his claws into her backside. Every slash felt like hot iron nails being dragged across her back, but Sakura refused to yield. Naruto was in there somewhere, and if enduring this pain meant bring him back, then she would endure it for as long as it took. She rested her cheek on her boyfriend's shoulder and whispered in his ear, "Shish, be still Naruto, be quiet. It'll all be over soon." The Jinchuriki continued to fight against her, but could not break free. Neither Kakashi nor Yamato could believe what they were seeing. They also couldn't decide which was more unbelievable, that Sakura thought she could hold down a raging Kyuubi chakra-enhanced Naruto, or that it was working. Either way, Yamato wasted no time and raised the necessary pillars to begin the ceiling. He had never attempted this jutsu on the real thing before, and especially never when there was a third party involved. This could kill Sakura by sucking out her own chakra along with the Kyuubi's. Not that it mattered, they were out of options. Yamato slammed his palms down onto the ground. "Seal!" he shouted. 12 pillars released tentacles of chakra that wrapped around the forms of Sakura and Naruto. The two of them were wrapped in a cocoon of glowing green chakra before the chakra extended a sign arm to meet Yamato's outstretched arm. Slowly, ever so slowly, the chakra receded until it came from a single point on Naruto's chest, dragging along with it the bloody Kyuubi chakra that had been covering him. Soon Kakashi and Yamato could see the blonde's golden locks again, then his face with skin colored an angry red to match the look of overwhelming pain upon his face. The poor boy moaned in pain, just barely conscious. All the while he was held in place by the pink-haired medic who refused to let go. Once all the evil chakra had been absorbed, Naruto slumped against Sakura's embrace. She didn't even recoil when the young man's entire weight was brought down against her. She was prepared to endure all that and more. "Sakura," Kakashi called out when Sakura went a few moments without moving. The girl shifted her weight and lowered her boyfriend gently down to the ground, making extra sure not to agitate his burned skin more than necessary and that he was comfortable while laying down. Once she was satisfied that he was comfortable, she unzipped his jacket and got to work healing Naruto's burns. Neither men said a word. Neither dared to break the tranquil silence. Although each secretly wished that they too would be lucky enough to find a girlfriend as gentle and caring as Sakura. The moment was ruined when Yamato received radio chatter from his clone. "Kakashi," he whispered, not wanting to break Sakura's concentration. "My wood clone reports that Orochimaru and Kabuto are retreating back to their hideout. My wood clone is pursuing but, Kakashi whispered back, his patience long since spent. He believes that Vital has been kidnapped by them. No idea what they plan on doing with her." The wood user reported. "Shit," Kakashi whispered, His gaze fell upon his two former genin students. Unknown to him, Sakura had heard them but continued to focus on healing Naruto. One crisis at a time,